So it should be, yeah, it is live now. All right. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is the day we've been waiting for a long time. This man does not require any introduction, so I'll not waste too much time and going on and on about it. We'll let him speak instead. It's none other than Herschelle Gibbs, the guy who we have seen in the South African jersey for the for most of our cricketing matches on TV, World Cups or whatever. Herschelle Gibbs, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Asif. Lovely to be here. And hopefully it's the start of many more little episodes and conversations to come. And hopefully the people watching, can we can give them some value and some much needed info with regards to some cricket that might take place in Kuwait and everywhere else for that matter.
That's right. Gibbsy, you have been to Kuwait, you have seen the world, and let's begin with your experience in Kuwait to begin with, because Kuwait is a nation which is not so renowned in terms of cricket itself. I mean, if you ask the cricketing nations about Kuwait, they don't even know that Kuwait has a national side and Kuwait plays cricket. Can we have some of your insights when you had visited us the very first time to play the series in the Doha ground, and after which you were appointed as the coach of Kuwait national cricket team?
Yeah, so obviously the director of cricketing of Kuwait got me in there a couple of years ago. I mean, I first came to Kuwait in 2014 and played in the Four Nations tournament there. So that is how my partnership with Kuwait started with regards to the cricket. We managed to win that Four Nations tournament. It was the first time that Kuwait won that tournament. So, basically, I've obviously got my first insights to life there, even though I was there just for about a week first time. And I was really taken aback by, the hospitality, the friendliness of the people. I had a good look around Kuwait and had a look at the different facilities, etc., etc. I went to all the, the big finance structures there with regards to right in the middle of Kuwait. They took me to the CBD, the business hub, basically. Took me to the outskirts. And I had a great overall view of Kuwait, which I really liked. So I didn't hesitate at all, when I got asked to coach the national team in the one T20 qualifier, World Cup T20 qualifier. And I then spent 3 months 2 years ago in Kuwait. I really loved my time there, and it gave me even more time to have a look around and to see what maybe the possibilities of taking cricket maybe to another level with regards to setting up an academy, etc., etc.
So do you really think Kuwait has the players and the potential? I mean, when you coach the Kuwait national team, I'm sure you dealt with a lot of players from the subcontinent, more or less.
Yeah.
And for sure, they're very, very talented.
Yeah,
what's your take on it?
There was a huge, talent pool. The depth was quite good. Even though specifically for that tournament, the qualifier, I basically got given about 30 players to look at, and I got there with about 3 weeks to a month before the actual qualifier, started. And for that specific tournament, I needed to try and combine experience with as much youth as possible, But given that the Kuwait national team, well, the players that I dealt with, there were one or two, youngsters, and the youngest one was only 17 or 18. There was a leg spinner. I forgot his name now. I think he's the captain of the under-19 team now.
Okay.
But so Yeah, I mean, it was specifically, for those big tournaments, you always need experience. So when I eventually landed up with my squad, it was quite interesting because some of the, the committee members or the board members didn't sort of question some of my decisions as to why I was picking some people that were quite old, and in any given tournament, you're always going to need experience, and I then saw, during the whole, experience of the 2 months leading up to the first qualifier, we did obviously practice quite a lot. And it was then, when I brought in the net bowlers, that I could see, the depth of the cricket in Kuwait. It's just a matter of sourcing them properly. There's such a large talent pool that we are lucky to have in Kuwait. But it's just a matter of giving them enough exposure, enough chances, get the facilities right, in order for them to, and the right coaching, in order for them to take the cricket to another level. So there's plenty to work with, definitely. So, I'm very optimistic about what we can achieve with regards to Kuwaiti cricket.
Lovely. All right. Let's get into your international career. I mean, you have played cricket for many years, and we all know you as the bad boy of cricket. Sorry?
Yeah, donkey's years.
Yeah.
They say donkey's years, so many years, they call it donkey's years.
Yeah, of course, it's called of course, you've been playing since donkey's years, that's right. The thing is, you have always been the bad boy of cricket, all right? From what we know and what we have seen around.
Yeah.
Look, I'm sure, I don't know for a fact, but maybe you can correct me if I'm wrong. You were not a captain's person. I don't think a lot of captains would be very happy to deal with you. So tell me, with all the captains that you have played under, who was the most respected for you, and who were you very chilled out with?
Well, obviously, when I first started playing, I mean, Hansie Cronje was still alive, and you was the captain. Despite obviously what happened to him, a lot of the players that played under him, those early 90s, it was a special time in with regards to South African cricket. I mean, and it produced many a legend with regards to the guys that play the game. I think with regards to Hansie, he was such an inspirational captain.
Right.
None of the players used to even question any decisions he was making. He just, everybody, could run through a brick wall for him. That is the sort of lengths that would go, to try and please him. And because he was such an inspirational captain, when he spoke, he was always wanted to lead by example with regards to fitness, all those sort of things, those etiquette, hardworking, and I think he was largely, I wouldn't say the founder, but, he's the instigator with regards to why, South African cricket produced such fitness fanatics in those middle 90s.
Right, and I think that's when Jonty came in as well, and
yeah, look, I mean,
that's
I think
when people started liking fielding. I mean, cricket was always related to batting and bowling.
Yeah, and I think Jonty, obviously, I think the standard that he set in '92 in the World Cup, made people sit up in the chairs and and see what he was capable of. He basically started the fielding revolution.
And then you took it over. After him, we only remember you.
Yeah. I think it's it was lovely to be able to be alongside him, and we challenged each other a lot, in practices, and we try to always be better than one another, in the practices. So it kept the standard really high, and it obviously had a snowball effect on everybody else. It just kept on rubbing off on the likes of like Ashwell Prince, A.B. de Villiers, Dale Beckenstein, maybe JP Duminy, Nicky Boyer, Derek Crooks. I could go on, and give you a numerous amount of names. But so it was, as far as Hansie was concerned, he was just, everybody was basically in awe of him when he spoke, and it was just phenomenal time to be playing, especially because I started playing for the Proteas in 1996, and to have to join at that stage was just something phenomenal, and great times. Then I obviously had Sean Pollock after that, and then Graham Smith. So I've had some fantastic captains with regards to international cricket or South African cricketers, South African cricket. And, the 2 years for the Deccan Chargers, I played under Adam Gilchrist, which was actually quite fun as well. And then, yes, the 1 year I played for Mumbai Indians in my last IPL. Harbhajan Singh was the captain of Mumbai then. So I've had some fantastic captains, all legends of the game, and like I said, it's been one hell of a ride. But yeah, I mean, people always say I'm the bad boy. I always said to myself that you have one life, and you got to just live it. You got to live it the way you want to live it. You have one career in cricket or whatever career it is, but you still got to be able to do what you want to do. And I think life, like your career, is just as important as actually, doing not the right thing, but you got to make the most out of it. And I just have so much energy for, natural energy for life and I've got a lot of energy. I've got a lot of natural energy, and people sometimes can't relate to that because I just live life. I live life to the fullest because, that's just the person I am. And when you're young, yeah, you must, you must make mistakes, but you must still live. Otherwise you don't learn anything about yourself, or you don't really find out, the things that you need to improve on, the characteristics that you need to improve on in order to become a better person. And then, like in your 20s and your 30s, by the time you get to the middle 30s, early 40s, you actually understand yourself a much better. But that all comes with making mistakes while you're in your 20s. And so,
Talking about your age, how old are you?
Well,
32, 32, 33? How old are you?
I think it must be Asif, I think it must be the hairstyle. My hairstyle gives it away. People can never say exactly how old I am, because I've had the same hairstyle. I've had the same hairstyle. I've had the same hairstyle for the last 20 years,
I can't even say that let people copy your hairstyle, but moving on with cricketing questions, we are going to show you one clip now. We are going to show all of our viewers one clip, which will soon be live on YouTube.
Okay.
And our live channel, and then we'll ask you questions pertaining to that clip.
Okay.
All right. Can we have the clip, please? Recognize it?
Yes. Looks fairly familiar. Yeah. I mean, it was people always ask me how I felt that particular day after, hitting those sixes. I originally thought that Sir Garfield Sobers was the first to do it in international cricket. So after I've hit the six sixes, you can see there's just a big smile on my face. There's no because it's such an unusual feat. Not many guys have done it. You don't really know what to do, how to celebrate. It's not like getting a 50 or 100. So that's why I just burst out laughing. I thought, well, okay, cool. I'll hit the sixes and happy days, So it was a very funny few minutes for me. So that's why I just ended up, burst out laughing. But it was after that game that I found out that I was the first to do it in international cricket. So, it was one of those things. I never played for milestones. Milestones don't interest me. I just try to give the people the entertainment value, and that was it.
Look, now when it comes to those six sixes, all right.
Yep.
As you mentioned, you never plan to hit six sixes in an over. You don't even plan to hit one six in an over. I mean,
yeah.
Forget about an international bowler. Doesn't matter which team you played against, Netherlands or India or Pakistan or whatever. All right. Even me, I'm not a bowler. Even if I come and throw 6 balls at you, I mean,
Yeah.
what is the possibility of you hitting those 6 balls for 6 sixes?
Yeah.
What is the mindset of a player at that time? I mean, okay, let's talk about the second half of the over, or say the last quarter of the over. That is the last 2 balls. What was
Yeah.
your mindset? Did you ever think that you're going to go for the full Monty?
Look, the message came out maybe about 2 or 3 overs before that. Said that we need to get on with things, And, Callis, obviously, he wasn't the one. I mean, he wasn't the most attacking, His job was really to try and bat 50 overs. And, at that time, that's what he always needed to do. But so I just took it upon myself to say, well, the message came out. We must try and get on with things. So that's exactly what I did. So, a lot of people don't understand that when you have license to go after any bowler, you basically got to call the shots. And irrespective if it's a spinner or a fast bowler, you've got to decide how you basically want to attack it. And I don't know the sequence of the over itself, but I think after the first 2 that I hit, another batsman might want to use his feet every ball. I didn't go with that option. After the first 2 balls, I decided, well, I will, because obviously he's a little bit flustered now. I've hit him for 2 sixes. What does he do next? For me, I went with the approach of I'm going to stay in my crease, and if the ball's in the slot to go, I'm going to go with it. So then, yes, you get the third one away. Now, obviously, the bowler is quite flustered. You've hit him for 3 in a row. He doesn't. They call it, some batsmen call it the bowlers having the claw because they don't know how to release the ball anymore. But so I decided, well, cool. I've got the third one away. I don't remember the actual sequence. So I just said, well, I've got the third one away. Let me just see again what he's going to do. So I think after the 4th one, I said, well, fine, I'm going to go and maybe use my feet for the last 2. I can't remember. But, so whatever I planned in that particular over, it happened. And I think it was the fourth 6. I think it was the 4th 6. Yeah, you bowled a short, wide one. And I think a lot of batsmen instinctively wouldn't have hit it flat batted like back over his head. Because it's short and wide, that's normally you play a cut shot. Any batsman, if it's short and wide, a batsman would normally play a cut shot. But the reaction, the instinct took over me and said, well, because the straights on that particular field were quite short, I flat batted it straight back over his head. I think it was the 4th one, yes. I flat batted
tennis shot.
Yes, like a tennis shot, and it managed to go for 6. So I think in that particular over, that shot was what actually got me the 6 sixes, because I think a lot of other batsmen in the world might have just hit a cut and it would have gone down to point for 1. So whatever I planned on that particular day, and managed to come off. So, it was just one of those things. Like I said, not many batsmen have done it, but it's very difficult now to do it, against spinners, because there's not much pace to work with. And, depending on the wicket, how quickly the bowler also bowls the ball, the lines, the lengths, everything, if it happens, it happens. Obviously a lot of batsmen have hit 5 in a row, but not obviously a lot have hit 6, so
okay.
Yeah.
Now, moving on, we have a lot of questions from our viewers, which we are going to take in a moment.
Yes.
If we can display, a couple of questions, guys, and let Gibbsy answer that. Bring it on. Okay. In the meantime,
Yeah.
let's talk about development of youth cricket. What do you think the youth these days are lacking? What some of the greats like you actually, took it upon yourself to develop the game.
Well, I think, because what has happened with this whole T20 revolution, um, a lot of that is because there's so many T20 games that is played, and there's so many leagues around the world. A lot of the youngsters see that, all the glitz and glamour that goes with the T20s. Obviously, the amount of money that the big players are making now, it become a lot more lucrative, and a lot of youngsters, that is the format that they would like to maybe play in one day. But they don't realize, what they don't actually think about is that all these great players played Test cricket. A lot of them played Test cricket. I'll make the one exception. David Warner was founded in T20, but he, through his own admission, said that if he didn't play Test cricket, he wouldn't have improved his batting. So if it wasn't for Test cricket, David Warner wouldn't be the player that he is today. And he's become one of the more complete players, around in world cricket at the moment. I mean, his statistics in every format is phenomenal. You can't. What happens is, and I always tell a lot of young cricketers that also aspire to be batsmen, is that in T20 cricket, you don't play. You're not at the crease long enough to improve your temperament. Getting 20 runs or even 30 runs or 15, 20 balls. Your talent span, or I wouldn't say your talent span, but your temperament for that is not much needed. There's not a lot that you need. It's just a couple of overs. But when you play Test cricket, there's a lot to learn about yourself. There's a lot of emotion and other characteristics that you need to find out within yourself, both with your technique, your defense, everything. And that only takes you to another level. There's very few batters. If you look around in world cricket, or very few cricketers in world cricket that just play, that are really good, that haven't played international cricket. I mean, I don't think you can give me one that just plays T20 that hasn't played international cricket for a couple of years.
That's true. That's true.
And I also tell them that if you want to play T20 cricket, how many of the other players in the world do you have to be better at to be a consistent T20 player in the leagues? There's a larger pool, so you've got to be extra special in order to play consistently at T20 if you don't want to play international cricket. I mean, international cricket or Test cricket or one-day cricket at least should be your first goal. You can't. You're not going
people
to.
who just rely on the shorter format, then we don't see them for too long. And we have seen a lot of examples. Let's and on this show, at least we'll not name them, but we have seen a lot of examples that who have lost their cricketing career just because they've stopped playing Test cricket or one-day cricket. And it's so right what he just said.
Yeah. You're not performing your skill long enough in T20 in order to improve. That's the bottom line. Where in international cricket, you get tested. Your temperament, technique, your character, everything gets tested. And that is actually the only way you improve, as not only as a person, not only as a cricketer, but in a person as well, with regards to what it is exactly that you want to achieve with regards to your cricket.
Right. Guys, can we have some questions posted on the screen from our viewers? There have been quite a few. Okay, so whom does he think has the highest level in fielding throughout world players? Who do you think are one among the best fielders?
Well, I can give you maybe the top five. I'd say Jadeja, Kohli, De Villiers, Warner, Maxwell. Then I think and I think now you have to be able to field everywhere on the field. You know,
I mean, look at Kobe. We always see him on the boundary ropes at times.
Yeah, I mean, it's you know, with T20 cricket, there's no more place to hide. You know, you can't hide anywhere. I mean, if the captain wants you to run from mid on to mid wicket, deep mid wicket, to mid off on the other side or in the inner ring, you need to be able to to be able to field anywhere now. That is the standard of any modern day fielder. So those 5 players, I think, would be my top 5. Definitely.
Right. Okay. Can we have one more question, please, before we move on to the next clip? One more question from the viewers. I saw Mohammad Rana had a question. Can we post his question? There you go. When you were struggling to score, then how do you get motivated, or what did you do to get out of that phase?
Yeah, I think I think when you do go through a bad patch, I think it's if you don't actually string a couple of good scores, together over a period of time, I think it's your self-belief that takes a knock. And when you see this with a lot of great players, you can see, when they're a little bit tentative when they're batting, when they're a little bit tentative, their feet don't move that well, they're not as free spirited, they don't have that presence at the wicket like they normally do, and that's because of that self-belief. The motivation is always there. I mean, anybody that's not motivated in life, you might as well kill yourself, and do nothing. I mean, you should be motivated every day of your life, whatever it is that you want to achieve. Now, with regards to batting, it's exactly the same. But it's a self-belief that takes you knock. So you rely on your technique, and you rely on getting to maybe 10, 15, 20. You've got to start small, because no one enjoys going through a bad patch. Some bad patches for some batters are a lot bigger than for some others. But it's that self-belief that takes a knock, most importantly, I think, first and foremost. And you stop believing in yourself a little bit until you actually get to the 30, 40, and things then just click in altogether. But it's not about lacking the motivation. I mean, playing international cricket, you don't need motivation more than that. You understand everybody goes through a bad patch, and that actually helps. I mean, you're not the only one that goes through a bad patch. The greatest of greatest went through bad patches with bowlers and with batsmen. It's just the way it is. That's the way the game goes. So imagine not going through a bad patch. You would never be able to appreciate the times that you did really well. But in order to improve, you also need to go through bad patches. Nobody just scores 100. I mean, not even Don Bradman had an average of 100. He came very close. But, if everybody scored, averaged 100, what would there more left to do? There would be no challenge, and that is why you stay motivated, and it's just to try and fulfill your potential, basically, at the end of the day. And that's probably, when you get to a certain point in your career, you realize maybe what you can accomplish. And that's maybe the motivation that you always have at the back of your mind. Until you actually get there, you're always motivated. But even, until you actually decide, you'll basically know about it when you stop being motivated. Is obviously the time that you're going to call it quits. And, everybody knows that time. We just don't have that motivation anymore. But while you're actually playing, there's never a shortage of motivation.
Right. Guys, can we have one more clip to show to our viewers, please? I hope you recognize this.
That was a good question, nonetheless. Yeah.
Mohammad Rana, he's one of our good cricketers in Kuwait.
Yeah.
And right now probably stuck in India somewhere.
Okay.
You recognize this, Gibbsy?
Yeah, I do recognize that.
I'll tell you what. I mean, this particular game, I don't think this can ever be repeated. All right. We have a guy who has a question for you. We are going to bring him on live onto the
Yes.
channel,
Okay.
and we'll let him ask you a question on this clip, on this particular game. Can we have our guest for this question, please? Can we have him live on board? So,
Hi
Vishal,
Herschelle,
I'm,
how
by
you
the way,
doing?
I'm very well. How are
Vijay,
you, bud?
we call him, his pet name is ABD. We all call him ABD. Just by the way.
Okay, beautiful, beautiful. You look like a much stronger version of AV. Don't worry.
Yeah, that is. And this is Junior ABD. Say
Hello,
hello to
Junior.
him.
Hello, Junior. How are you?
Fine, thank you. How are you?
Yes, I'm good. Thank you. All the better for seeing you.
Thank you, Herschelle. Thank you.
Okay. Yes.
I just want to ask you this question, Herschelle, regarding this clip which we saw.
Yep.
Everybody knows this chase of 434, and you played a very important role in that. So, just as an opener, when you got onto the field, what was the mindset? And I know that now, when we have seen the stats, when you scored 175, you still had 20 overs left, so you could
Yeah.
have made like a 250 or a 225 while chasing, which I think
Yeah.
nobody has done. The
Yeah.
guys who have scored a double century have scored in the first innings.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm sure it must have come in your mind, and that could have been like, you would have been the first man to get that double hundred. So I just want to know the process, like when you walked in, like, it was the time when team used to make 300, the game used to be over. Like, we used to
Yeah.
say 300, game is over. The
Yeah.
team makes 300 and they're winning. So this was 434. So I just want, like, your process, what you thought. Did at
Mm.
any point of time, did that come in your mind that, like, you can get a double century, you would make history, it would be a world record? And apart from that, how the process, like, what was in the mind when you start, like when you face the first ball, because you have to score at the rate of knots.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that particular day, um, yeah, you can imagine how we felt when we walked off the field after after bowling. You know, from being completely shell shocked, and then, also a little bit embarrassed because Australia had, obviously made the highest score up until then, 434, and we were just a bit shell shocked and a little bit embarrassed. The turnaround, because we took so long to bowl our overs, the turnaround between the innings, was obviously shortened. It was cut off, or shortened. And Mickey Arthur said a couple of words, and he basically said that we needed to try and get to about 190 after about 20 overs. So, when he said that, I think there was a few smiles in the room, in the changing room, because we obviously needed to go at quite a rate. But when we walked onto the field, we lost Butta Dipana early. I batted number 3 that day. And it's always funny because he always makes a joke that he was the man of the match of the day because he got out early so that I can come into bat. But the only way we were going to get close to that total in the start of the innings was to try and get a boundary every over. So if there was no 4 or 6 that was hit from the first 5 balls, we had to go for a boundary option over the last ball of the over. And I think with regards to that, I mean, that was the mindset. I mean, it didn't take me very long. We stood out before I started playing my shots. But I think it was more the shot selection that was so good that day with myself and Graham, obviously, initially, because we laid that foundation like, all openers should do, lay the foundation for the rest of the team or the rest of the innings. And we played to our strengths, which was probably the most important lesson that I could have taken from that particular game. We scored in areas that we had confidence in. We knew we could score well. The wicket was good. There was, international cricket is great because there's always pace on the ball. And in that particular ground, in Johannesburg at altitude, the ball does fly, a lot further than when you're playing, say, at sea level. So the wicket was really good. And you had full license, to go and play. And I think that's why I say the shot selection that myself and Graham batted with was key to that innings. And yes, when he got out, he also played a fantastic innings of 90 or 55 balls. But yes, I got out in the 29th over. It was quite funny after the first 6 or 7 overs. I saw on the scoreboard, you still need 405 runs to win. And I thought, oh my word, we're going to have to get on with things here. But it was quite funny. And yes, when I got to about 150, I'd obviously known no one had got it 200, before Sachin obviously got to in 2008. But I just made up my mind that particular day that I was going to enjoy this moment. It was complete license to go and play as many shots as I wanted to. And up until then, I obviously made all the right decisions with regards to where I wanted to hit. I showed my full repertoire, of shots all around the wicket. And the funny thing is, and I thought about the 200, but I thought, well, if I get it, so be it. I could have been selfish and batted. I had 20 overs to get 25 runs. I could have said, well, if I batted for milestones, I could have done that. But milestones never interest me. It never interested me, and it's always about the entertainment I was giving to the people. And the one lesson that I learned from that particular game, and I wouldn't say kick myself to this day, but it was the first time that I premeditated where I wanted to hit the ball when I got out. The ball that I got out to. Because the ball wasn't really turning much, it was just holding just a little bit. I tried to go over extra cover, right, of Andrew Simons. I tried to go, and I was quite lazy in wanting to, because I thought I'd been hitting the ball so well all day. So I was hitting it so well.
Andrew Simons, of all the bowlers, come on.
Yeah, I know. And I was actually quite lazy in wanting to go over extra cover. And that is why I ended up hitting it down to long off, because I was lazy. There wasn't any intensity. There wasn't any, proper execution in hitting that shot.
Right.
And that is why I ended up, dragging it down to, Brett Lee at long off. But, I always say that was such a special game. We might not see it in our lifetime. We might not see it in the next 40 years. I don't know. But it obviously set the tone, for T20 cricket. And, I think irrespective of who won that particular day, it was just one hell of a spectacle for the sport. But, yeah, it was probably my most enjoyable day of cricket, in my career.
All right. Well, thanks, ABD, for this lovely question.
Yeah.
I think it made a lot of sense to ask this guy, why didn't he go for his 200? Well, that question now remains a question. If you have any more questions, WhatsApp me. I'll forward it to him, and then I'll reply back to you. Thanks, ABD. Thank you so much for coming, buddy. We have another person coming online to chit-chat with you. Can we get him on board, please? Are we getting the connection to get him on board? It's a person sitting in India. There you go.
Okay, he's on mute. He's on mute though.
Look, let me introduce him. He comes from our royal family of our Opera community.
Okay.
From the religious point of view, he is the person in charge he heads the sports division of our community. Now, when we talk about our community, we are about 25,000 of us in Kuwait itself.
Okay.
All right. And the first year, he did the SB T10 cricket tournament in Mumbai, which was done on the normal grounds over there. Then he took it to the next level, to the Sharjah Stadium 2 years after that. And the last one was done in Wankhede Stadium, where Kuwait won the finals. All right.
Yeah.
We are going to have him live. He's in India right now. We are not sure about his internet connection at this point of time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mr. Tekun Bhai Saab, we welcome you on this show. Can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you clearly. Can you hear me?
We can hear you, but we cannot see you. Is there any way we can have your camera on?
My camera is on, I think, Asif bhai. No?
No. Can the viewers see Tekun Bhai Saab on the screen, or is just me? No, I don't think we can see you, Tekun Bhai Saab.
Hello. Hi.
Now we can see you. Now we can see you.
My video
Welcome.
is on. Let's.
We can see you now.
Tekun.
Most welcome.
Yeah. Hi,
I'm
Herschelle.
good. How are you, buddy? Yes,
How
I'm
are you
very
doing?
good.
I'm fine. I'm fine.
What's-
Thank you.
How's how's your day been?
Yeah.
Day been good?
We just there was a cyclone here yesterday,
Okay.
so lots of damage here. So
But you
I'm currently in Khandala next to Mumbai.
okay?
So, but it's fine. Everything is good.
Good. You're looking well.
There was no light for 2
You're
days.
looking well, though.
Yeah, thank you. There was no light for 2 days, but because of your show, the light came on the nick of time. It just came half an hour ago.
glad. As long as I can keep people smiling, I'm happy. You know.
Yeah. Hi.
Yeah.
How are you?
No,
Yeah.
I'm good. I'm good. So
yeah.
I'm glad you're safe though. I mean, we in South Africa don't, we're lucky. We're very fortunate. We don't get any cyclones or earthquakes or anything like that. So I mean, I'd hate to think what people must go through to experience that. So I'm glad everything is well and you're looking good.
Yeah. Yeah, we just missed it. Actually, the intensity wasn't there, and it shifted slightly, so we didn't get the full hit of the cyclone. But
Okay.
thank God, everything is fine.
Yeah.
Yeah,
good.
I had a few questions for you.
Yes.
Your cyclonic sixes, the six sixes.
Yeah.
What went through your mind when you hit six sixes, and what was your mindset when you hit the six sixes?
No, like I said, I mean, I said it earlier in the show that we got a message that got brought out to us that we needed to get on with things and speed up a bit. And I just basically took it upon myself to get on with things. But I went through I briefly explained it over a little bit earlier, is that basically after the first two sixes, I just sat in my crease. Maybe another batsman would have maybe wanted to use his feet every ball. So there was a certain amount of planning. I wouldn't say no logic. It's just one of those things, So after the first two sixes, I basically sat back in my crease and waited to see what the bowler was going to do, rather than you just try and basically without thinking go at every ball and hit sixes. You know what I'm saying? So another batsman might have felt that he could use his feet every ball. After the first two balls, I just sat back in my crease and waited, to see what he was going to do. And like I said, if there was ball that was there to be hit, I just had to improvise and execute the shot, and then I hit the next two. I mean, so that's 3 and 4. And I was telling Asif earlier that after the fourth six, there was just some quick instinctive thinking on my part, because it was a short and wide ball. And a lot of other batsmen might have cut it down to point, to the boundary for one. But because of the short, straight boundaries, I decided to almost hit it baseball style and flat bat it straight back over his head, for another six. And then, obviously, I had him completely flustered after the first 4. And I think the fifth one, I might have used my feet again. I don't know. I can't remember. And then the last one, I just hit from the crease. So there was a little bit of cat and mouse, basically. The first two, I decided I'm going to use my feet. And then the next two, I decided, okay, fine. I'll decide whatever he does, I must try and improvise. And then the last two, I said, okay, cool. I'm going to go batting mat again. But after the fifth one, he was completely confused anyway. Yeah.
Do you feel sorry for the bowler after you hit them for six?
No, not at all. No, not at all. But we had a couple of cool drinks afterwards. Don't worry, just to laugh about it. Yeah. Yeah.
Do stay with us, because towards the end of the show, which is a little bit later, definitely you'll be presenting, the SBT 10.
Okay.
And what all we have achieved in the last few years, just because of your and your team's dedication towards this sport.
Thank you, Asif.
And
Thank you, Asif. Yeah.
it's nothing but a community service that you guys are doing.
Thank you.
I mean, on behalf of all the viewers right now, we really want to thank you, and that you came to this show and gave it much more credentials than it would have otherwise gotten. Thank you so much, Mr. Tekum Bhai Sahab.
Thank you.
Can we have the next viewer in, please? We have one more question. There you go.
Hakim,
Hello,
how are you?
I'm good, sir. How are you?
Yeah, I'm very well, very well. Good to see you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Apart from your betting, sir, I just wanted to
Yeah.
know, we have been witnessing you since I was small kid, since our childhood. And
Yeah.
apart from your brilliance in the betting, I wanted to know, we all know that you are a superb fielder, exceptional fielder, and just wanted to know basics which we can practice in our game, especially to improve our fielding in the outfield and point and cover region, which was your supremacy.
Gibbsy,
look-
sorry,
yeah.
before you answer this, I would like to
Yeah.
point out that in Kuwait, we play on sand in the desert, and still people dive around.
That's good.
So when you answer this question, I mean, keep this in mind.
Yeah.
We hurt ourselves all over the place.
That's important that you do. It's all part of the game. It's all part of the game. So, look, I think, when it comes to fielding, there's so many different exercises, different drills that you can do. I mean, you can do, 100 different things. The most important thing is that the intensity at which when you're training, if you're not going to do things at 100%, if you train for 20 minutes, if you train for 30 minutes, or if you train for 45 minutes, there has to be some intensity. Otherwise, you never improve. I mean, you don't do anything without intensity. With fielding, there's so many drills. You can do whatever you want to, but it's always the extra work, hard work that you put in that's going to make a little bit of difference. But the main thing when it comes to fielding is the intensity at which you do it. If you don't do it at 100% all the time, then you might as well not do it, because when you play cricket, when you're in the match, you're always fielding at 100%. So when you train, that is the first thing that you must realize. You have to train with the right intensity. And I don't see, I see a lot of, obviously I see a lot of T20 cricket, and when I'm coaching, that's the first thing I do, especially with fielding. Intensity, you can't improve if there's no intensity, whatever you're doing with your batting in the nets, bowling, or fielding. The first thing is there has to be intensity, because when you're playing a match, there's always intensity. So when you practice, it should be no different. There has to be intensity. And
So
like I
basically,
said, yeah.
So basically, when you train in the nets, just consider yourself in a real match situation and train. I mean, that's the point.
Yeah, I mean, I see a lot of batsmen as well. Sometimes there's no intensity in the batting, in the nets. They're just going through the motions. There's no thought process. There's no intensity. So what is the point of actually practicing without intensity? I mean, how are you going to improve? There's always a battle between batsman and bowler, whether it's in the match or in the nets. There's always that. So if there's no intensity, what are you actually practicing?
Right.
There has to be always a goal with regards to a practice. You don't just go in there and say, okay, I'm going to practice. What is it that you're going to practice? You have to have a goal, a specific thing that you need to improve on. If it's a shot, if it's your stance, if it's your technique. With regards to bowling, there's always variety that you can bowl. That you can practice. It's the same with fielding. One-handed catches, diving catches, hitting the stumps, high, throwing the stumps from the inner ring, to the boundary. There's so many things that you need to practice in cricket. There's so many things. There's always, but the main thing, the most important aspect is that you do it with the right intensity. Otherwise, you'll never improve.
Look, when you come to Kuwait, we'll train with you.
Yeah, and like I told you, some of the Kayuj and Jude.
All right.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
Hakeem, for coming on the
Thanks a
show
lot.
and asking
Thanks
this
a
lot.
amazing
Thanks a
question.
Okay,
Something that we neglect, and that's fielding.
Yeah. Oh, here's another question.
So, Gibbsy, when you come to Kuwait next,
Yeah.
I think these guys need to train with you on the bench. They want to play every game. Doesn't matter they are good or out of form.
Yeah. So what do you tell such players? Well, I mean, only 11
Off to
players
you,
can play.
Gibbsy.
Unfortunately, only 11 players can play. And I understand it must be quite hard for players that want to play more often that don't get enough opportunity to play. Can be a little bit, I don't want to say depressed, but they can feel a little bit that, they don't have that ambition anymore, the ambition to want to improve because they're not playing, but that's the unfortunate thing. You've got to just try and keep motivated, you do the extra work. There might be a good enough reason why you're not playing as regularly as the other players are. Maybe it's your workload, maybe some of the skills that you're lacking. Everybody wants to play more. So for those players, I understand it must be very frustrating, and they can get a little bit, their spirits obviously take a bit of a knock because they want to play more, but they must ask themselves, where can I improve to maybe make a change and improve that I can actually play more often? What am I doing or what am I not doing? Why am I not playing more often? It's not just about I'm not playing. Why I want to play more, but you must ask yourself the question: what do I need to do? What are the other players doing more or better than me that they are playing and I'm not playing? So that is the question you got to ask yourself: why are they playing and I'm not playing? Maybe I'm not as fit, not as fast, not as skillful, and that is the question you must ask. Those players must ask themselves: why? What are they doing that I'm not doing? Not just you. Everybody feels that they are good enough. Everybody feels that they are good enough to play. Until reality sets in and they're not playing as often as they would like to, they must ask themselves, what are the other players doing better than me that they are playing and I'm not playing?
Right. Before we move on to the next question, I would like to inform the viewers that Mr. Teikum Paisa will be back with us live presenting the SBT 10. But before that, we'll take a couple of more questions and then move on. Gibbs, you are okay with time?
Yeah. I've got another 8 minutes.
Okay, cool. So we'll just speed up the process.
Yeah, the last ball will be bowled on 60 minutes.
Indicate when you have 2 minutes remaining.
Okay.
All right, there we have.
Ibrahim,
Hi, Mr. Gibbs. Hi, Mr. Asif. How are you, sir? How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. You're looking nice and dangerous in your red there.
That's the Kuwait t-shirt
He's
I'm wearing
a
right
fearsome bowler. So when you come to Kuwait,
yeah,
we'll challenge Ibrahim to try and get you out.
Okay, well you must go gentle.
It would be my honor just to.
You must go gentle. You must go gentle on me. I'm not so young anymore. Yeah.
So my question is, why the higher scores which are chaseable, which are easily chaseable, like the one which was 434, and the lower scores are tough to chase? Why is that? Is it the mindset of the batsman or the nature of the cricket?
Yeah, look, those middle scores are always a bit more tricky because some players, some teams, the batsmen are too tentative. They lose that intensity. So they're very tentative and they don't know how to actually go about approaching. Those middle scores, you should always approach exactly like you're setting a score. You shouldn't say, well, we've got 220 or, we're chasing 220 or 230 now in 50 overs. We'll take our time with it. Because when you take your time, you don't always have that intensity and that sharpness, you see, and you lose wickets like that. You should actually go with the other approach of saying, well, we're going to bat like we're setting. And you will see more often than not that those scores will, less wickets will fall because that intensity is there from the word go. It's the mindset. I mean, a lot of the times, I'll give you an example. the 2002 ICC Champions Trophy in Colombo. You know, we played against India.
And you scored a century, I think.
Yeah, I got 100, and we only needed 80 in I don't know, in 90 balls or something to win, where we had 9 wickets still left.
Yeah.
You know, and we ended up losing because I unfortunately got out. There wasn't enough intensity in which we batted to get even 80 runs. Yeah. I'm not saying, I think you could see on the faces from India that they knew they were going to, or they were supposed to lose, because we only 80 runs. There's only 1 wicket down. The intensity dropped because I got out, and we end up losing. Now, had we, you know, I went about it like I was setting a total, you know, and we end up losing by 10 runs because there wasn't just that intensity. I mean, the bowling didn't become all of a sudden a lot better than when I was batting, you know. So I think always have your mindset of setting the target rather than thinking about, okay, we can take our time and we'll get there. Rather go with the intensity of setting, you know, that mindset of setting the target first.
Right, Gibbsy. Let's move on with Mr. Tekum Bhai Saab and Mr. Mufaddal Bhai Zaveri. Yes. And, you know, so some very short video clips of our SBT10 to give a general idea to the public.
Yeah.
Can we have the presentation, guys?
Yeah. Assalamu alaikum, everyone, and good evening once again to all of viewers from India, Kuwait, and everywhere else in the world. And hi once again, Herschelle. Nice to see you again.
Likewise.
So I'll just start by introducing you to what Burhani Sports is, and the people instrumental in bringing it to what it is today. Tekum Bhai Saab and Ikhyan Bhai Saab. Tekum Bhai Saab is with us today. He's a die-hard sports fan and is always instrumental in motivating youngsters to get into a professional level. So Burhani Sports, under the umbrella of Burhani Sports, we started the Saifi Burhani SBT10 tournament in the year 2017. It started in Mumbai, and the finals over there were played between the home team Mumbai and the team from Pakistan, Nadal Burhani. And it was a closely fought tournament, and the highlight was the presence of His Holiness Akamullah Sayyidina Mufaddal Saifuddin Aka. For a brief moment, he came to the ground and blessed the team. So that was a highlight moment. The next year, we kept improving each year, and the next year we held it in the historic Sharjah Cricket Stadium. Herschelle, do you have any memories of Sharjah? I just searched something, and there was an interesting fact with your relationship with Sharjah. You scored 100. You were unbeaten till the end. You needed a target of 100 odd runs, and you had a verbal duel with another bad boy of cricket, Shoaib Akhtar.
Yeah. No, I remember those days. I remember that particular game. So I've got good fun memories of Sharjah for sure.
Yeah. So coming back to the second edition was held at Sharjah, where again the finals was played between Pakistan and this time the home team Abu Dhabi, which Pakistan won once again, and we had none other than the Sri Lankan great cricketer Mahela Jayawardena, who had come there for the prize distribution ceremony, and we were honored to have him there. The third edition was again held in Sharjah, and this time the finalists were again the home team there. It was held in UAE, Dubai, and Dubai versus Coimbatore. And in typical tradition of Sharjah, it was a final with the last ball sixer being hit by the Dubai batsman, in typical Javed Miada style of the 80s.
Beautiful.
Sharjah. So tournaments go right down to the wire. This was one more of them, and this time we had the Sri Lankan fast bowler Chaminda Was coming there to honor us with his presence and do with the closing ceremony. The final edition, the last edition that was held was in 2020, and it was held in Mumbai at the Wankhede Stadium, the venue for the finals of the 2011 World Cup, which India won, and of course your association with the Mumbai Indians cricket team.
Nice.
So,
Okay.
so
Well, it looked
it
like
was
a nice turnout as well, for the spectators. Nice turnout.
yes, there were around
2,000,
30,000
more or less.
spectators.
Beautiful. Good to hear.
Oh,
Good
sorry,
to hear.
30,000.
Yeah. Good to hear.
Yeah. So,
Lovely, man.
and not only from Mumbai, people had come from other cities from Mumbai as well. And this time
Yeah.
the finalists were Chennai and as always, Kuwait, whose Josh is always high. And they had some amazing support out there, even staying in the match being held in India. Kuwait had some amazing support, and they eventually lifted the cup. It was again humdinger going down to the last delivery of the match, and that time the teams were privileged to have your teammate John T. Rhodes, the fielding great, to have
Yes.
them with the toss. And
Okay.
the highlight of the tournament was the presence of His Holiness Sayyidina Mufaddal Saifuddin Aka. May God bless him with a healthy and prosperous life. He was there for at least 2 hours. The match went to that level. The level of cricket was so amazing between the two teams that he was there till the end, and he waited for the prize distribution ceremony.
Okay. Yeah,
And we
lovely.
hope that, as Asif has said, that they want to hold the next SBT 10 tournament in Kuwait, and he promises to have a turf ground ready by then. So let's hope that happens pretty quickly. And
Inshallah.
is here with us. He's the pioneer of this. And if you could please highlight your views on the Saifi Burhani T10 Cup, which has completed 4 years now.
Yeah, look, it was lovely. I mean, I think if we can get the T20 tournament, I mean the T10 in Kuwait, it would be fantastic. There's no reason why we can't. But like I said, it looks phenomenal. It's a lovely competition that I could obviously be part of, and I would like to witness myself. It looks great. The sponsors are all on board. It looks a nicely run tournament. So hopefully I can be part of it. And hopefully it can happen in Kuwait, because the facilities are, we've got good enough facilities. We might have to bring in some more stands somewhere if we're going to get 30,000 people. But the more the merrier, as they say. But like I said, it looks phenomenal, and hopefully we can get it to Kuwait.
I'm sure with your presence, the count of the spectators will double very soon.
Yeah, maybe I can even play in one of the teams. It'll be great.
There'll be a huge bidding for that. Many teams will be bidding for you to play for them. It will be a one-sided affair.
Nice. Yeah. No, it'd be lovely. I actually can't wait to be part of it. So hopefully, it can grow from strength to strength.
Thanks. We'll be happy to see you for the Saifi Burhani T10 tournament in 2021 very soon.
Okay, great. Thank you very much, and
Thank you.
Take it easy, brother. Okay.
All right, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Gibbsy, for your time and this lovely show what we have had. I'm sure our guys, whoever has seen this show, has learned a lot from you and your experiences. And hopefully we'll have something coming up soon as well in the future.
Yes, I'm sure we do. We won't unleash the kit or the cat out the bag just yet, but there will be something in the pipeline very soon. Don't worry.
Right, inshallah. Have a nice day.
Yeah, inshallah. See you, people. Thank you very much, Asif, and everyone else.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Gibbsy.
Thank you very much.
Ekum Bhai Sahab, can we have you unmuted? Ekum Bhai Sahab, can we have you unmuted? Oh, Gibbs, you are still on.
Hello, how am I going out? How am I going
Can you
You
out?
say
have to be
something?
with us till 2021, I think.
Okay. I can't get off. How do I get off? How do I get
Strong
off?
bonds. We've developed strong bonds today.
I see. This is even stronger than the internet. I can't even get off.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll see you later.
See you.
All right, cheers, guys. Tekum Bhai Sahab, back to
Yeah,
you, and some questions for you, please.
Okay, go ahead.
How have you managed SBT10, the 4 years that it has gone through? We would like to know from you and the team behind it, please.
Basically, Asif bhai, it's passion for the game, number one. Everybody who's in my team, working in our team, it's not my team, it's our team. They're all passionate about cricket. They're all passionate about sports, and they're passionate about management. That's also a big key issue, because most of the players are good players and they like cricket, but they're not good managers. But the team around me, they're very good managers as well as good cricketers. So it's basically a team effort. Everybody chips in, everybody there does their work, everybody has their duties assigned, and it comes down at the end, it comes out to Maulana's dua at the end, because it's Maulana's blessing since the beginning, since 4 years. ये शुरुआत है वो सगला हमें तो बताएं अपना अच्छा है बीजा भी English or both, doubt in the one will do.
Your call.
Okay. Okay, so Maulana Mufaddal Saifuddin Aqa ने एक दो दुआ मुबारक से इतना वक्त सी. It's been 4 years. Every year, Mufaddal Saifuddin Aqa has some blessing upon us in some form or the other. Once we went with everything, with the photos and everything. Once Sayyidina Mufaddal Saifuddin Aqa Bombay માં પધારા. પછી next year Dubai માં મોલાએ આખું પટું નજર ફરમાવી after the fact, after the tournament. And this year everybody knows કે વાંખેજામાં મોલા પધારીને अपने 4 चांद लगा दिया, बल्कि मैं कहूँ कि आसमान लग अपनी टूर्नामेंट में पहुंचा दी. So it's basically dua of Mufaddal Saifuddin Aqa ni, magar the team is very passionate. That is important, and the passion grows and grows. So it's difficult. Badda ne dimag ho, everybody so passionate about it. It's difficult to manage them. But alhamdulillah, it works out
I'll
well.
tell you. See, you started the Gymkhana grounds. You then moved on to the Sharjah Stadium, and then the great Wankhede. What next? Are you going to do it in Sydney? What next?
Probably the moon.
Inshallah. Sorry, you are. Yeah.
Or we could do it in Kuwait. We could turn Kuwait City into a big stadium and do it there. That is also a big. We also want the tournament there. Yeah, we can create the whole stadium.
Sorry, in one of the previous seminars, Sheikh Asghar Bhai Obri did mention that he has intentions of bringing the SBT10 to Kuwait, and at the government level or at the sports body level, they can definitely make arrangements, and then we have to see our way forward. Due to the circumstances right now, of course, things will be held on for some time, but when the planning stages begin, that's the time where we'll all sit together and see how we can move the SBT10 for Kuwait to host it, inshallah. In Kuwait, let me tell you, our Bohra cricket has gone from, you can say, a level that we were playing 20 years back to a level now that we can actually compete at an international level, so something like an SBT10, and go ahead and win the trophy. Let me tell you, none of these guys ever practiced on turf wickets over here. All we have is cement wickets. We are not even experienced enough to play on turf wickets, and still going ahead and winning this cup means it's a great job done. And all of this is why, because the platform Mohammadi Sports Committee provides us, the I Cup that we play, and then there are so many other cricketing bodies, like you can say the Dahood Cricket Club. They do their cricket tournaments for Muminin to participate. Then we have the Hussaini Cup, where people participate, and then we have the RCP team doing this. So all of these guys, their cause is the same, and that is for our Bohra cricket to come up, going forward. So now it is up to you, Tekum Bhai Sahab, where you decide to bring it on, and if it is Kuwait, then Kuwait it is.
Yeah, I admire Kuwait. I admire the Kuwait and the amount of field is number one. I think there's discrepancy. Can you hear me?
Yeah, now it's clear.
The support that the Kuwaiti Momenin showed was unparalleled. I've seen many teams as they support many teams, and Mumbai is one of the strong teams that people support Mumbai, but not compared to Kuwait. So you can see that, and the amount of people watching Kuwait was tenfold, maybe 50-fold. So that is, we'd love to. We would love to have the tournament in Kuwait for the next year. Let's see if things work out. And inshallah, Maulana bhi padhare. That is also our ummid. So Maulana bhi ઘણા વર્ષથી નથી પધાર્યા તો બે ચીજ સાથે થઈ જાય. આ ટુર્નામેન્ટનો એક તો બહાનો બને, મગર મોમિનીન દરમિયાન મોલા પધારી જાય ઇન્શાઅલ્લાહ. એ બી એક ઉમ્મીદ કરે.
And I mean, nothing like it. Nothing like it. Absolutely. We had a question from Ibrahim Raghib. Can we have that on the screen, please?
Yeah.
He must train the best 11 from SBT10. Yeah, this is for Gibbs. Yes, we will train. We will get him to train the SBT10 team. Don't worry. And then we'll compete against Mumbai, Tegum Bhai Sab's team. Okay, Tegum Bhai Sab, since you are here, I would like you to end this show. We have gone a little overboard, but the show was so interesting that we didn't realize the time. I would like you to say a few words before we end the show. I think there's a connection issue. Anyway, thank you so much, everyone, for being present. We promise you to bring in another show with another great cricketer anytime soon. Until then, stay tuned. Tegum Bhai Sab, good to have you back again. We would like you... Sorry, people are not letting us leave. So how does Tegum Bhai Sab and his team intend to take the level of game in the next season?
Only time will tell. If I reveal everything, then what's the point?
Tegum Bhai Sab.
Yeah.
It was great to have you on the show. And it will be our privilege. Now we are ending the show over here. It'll be a privilege if you could please end the show with your few words.
Shukriya Saglano. Thank you very much, everybody, for attending this wonderful event. And thank you, Mr. Asif. Your passion for cricket is unparalleled. I have seen that many times. And thank you to everybody, Burhani Sports and everybody else, for being a part of this event. And I hope many events in the future continue. And we have many great hosts like Mr. Herschelle Gibbs, because we get to learn a lot from these greats. We know cricket, but these greats bring a lot more to the table. And especially for the new upcoming cricketers and new kids on the block. So thank you for this. Maulana Mufaddal Saifuddin Aka, as everybody knows, is also passionate about cricket. Many a times I've seen him attend some before many a times I've seen him attend many matches, especially in England and all. And he's always asking about the scores. For the Brian Aka was also asking about the scores, and for the Saifuddin Aka was also asking about scores, and especially in intense matches like India, Pakistan, and so we are proud to say that we are cricketers and we play a game that His Holiness loves, and we hope to keep playing it, and we hope to keep learning about cricket from these greats and from webinars like this. Thank you.
Thank you. And we will have you again with the next seminar as well. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone, for joining us. And until then, Khuda Hafiz.